Dawson's Rambles. Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my video breakdown and discussion of our first official main trailer for Kamen Rider Gotchard, as well as details and character descriptions from the press conference. So I'm going to start off just kind of going over the trailer and what we saw, and a couple little odds and ends details, and then talk about the cast and their characters and stuff like that. So, as far as the trailer goes, you know, we kind of actually just start with what looks similar to that first teaser we got of just kind of showing off his suit, showing the cards off, talking about the alchemy. They have some alchemy stuff in the background. You know, I'm assuming some stuff that will come up later in regards to the backstory of some of the plot and stuff like that. So that's how we kind of started. We also just take a look at the academy that we're going to be at, because it is a high school setting. We get to see the exterior, you know, we get to see inside the classroom, showcasing our look at our main character, as well as the female secondary, not secondary main character, but main cast member, I would say, like his best friend, as well as the teacher character that's going to be important. It's kind of funny when looking at my first experience with, I think, Japanese classrooms was the Digimon anime for Digimon Adventure 2, and I always just think about that series and them going to the digital world whenever I see classrooms in Toku or anything like that. It's a total side note, as well as other things where Japanese classrooms are featured, such as Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Then we have a look at him meeting, I guess, Hopper, which is actually this little tiny character that's a little figure that it talks. I guess that's going to be a character in the show, which I didn't realize from any of the early descriptions or details or anything like that. So that's kind of interesting. It definitely looks like the series is going to have some lighter fare in it, so that will likely play into it. And you know, the main character here isn't making the strongest first impression for me with some of his overreactions. I was worried about him being a twerpy character, and he looks like he might not beat those allegations. Then we have our, a look at our female main cast member again, Gotchard being led to what looks to be kind of their secret base or their base of operations or whatever. And honestly, it's a pretty cool set overall. I generally enjoy the look at all the sets we're getting in the series. They also showcase these rings that it seems like everybody's going to have at the academy, that they can use alchemy abilities, kind of almost like magic and stuff like that, which actually might be kind of neat for fight scenes or whatever. And it kind of gives the characters other than our main character some abilities outside of battle, which I think is kind of cool, and I can totally see a premium Bandai item as well. I don't remember these characters' names offhand, as I don't have the character descriptions in front of me yet, but there is two other members of the regular cast we get a look at here in the trailer. We get a look at our main character's mother as well, who she's going to be presumably a regular character, as part of the plot involves the fact that he's helping support her while he's going to school. Shot here of our little Hopper friend with some random alchemy looking stuff behind him. We have a look at our main villains, which is this trio of characters. It's funny because the first image I saw of them was kind of the zoomed in image, and then I see the trailer and one of them's a little kid, which is kind of funny. We got our first monster of the week, which I believe is a Kamakiri monster, and that's kind of basically the end of our trailer, is this whole little first fight scene. As we have our first look at our monster, we get to see what I was talking about, which is them using their alchemy rings for abilities, and then we show main character being given the belt by the father of his best friend. I believe that's who he is, and he transforms for the first time, and we basically get a look at the transformation and hear the sounds like we did in that first teaser. Basically, if you watched any of those teasers, it's the same thing, and the only additional sound you hear is there's a jingle, which I don't recall hearing in the preview stuff, so that's nice. I was slightly worried there was going to be some sing-songy elements that weren't in the trailer or anything like that. So the only additional thing I'm hearing is a jingle, a standby jingle, but it's honestly fine. Still really like the belt sounds. So glad it's not annoying, whiny, sing-songy. But we get our first transformation, taking a look at the suit, which looks really good. The transformation overall looks pretty cool as well. Again, pretty big fan of the suit. It's probably one of my favorite main suits. It's very simple, yet unique. A little bit of a look at the weapon as well, in terms of the sounds and the functionality, which actually looks pretty cool. At this moment, I've only caved and pre-ordered the belt, but if I like everything enough, I could see possibly picking that up. I'm kind of on the fence right now, in general. I'll get a look at him doing the finisher, finishing off the monster. Hey-oh! And then it looks like it's going to work sort of similar to Blade, where in the Blade series, they would capture undead in the cards, and that's what powered not only their systems in terms of the main powers, but also their abilities and stuff. So after he defeats the monster, he absorbs it into a card. So it looks like it'll work similar to that, likely giving him, fuel for his forms, and I guess potentially other stuff as well, like attacks and stuff like that. We then have a look at Valivard, or whatever his name is, our rogue not writer. It even says in the description he's not a writer. I know people are going to get twisted up about those pathetic classifications, but technically he's not a writer. But if you want to consider him one, no one's stopping you. Who cares? Anyway, we get a look at him, and I guess, again, I'll go over the descriptions in a minute, but I guess he's like a graduate that's an alchemist that's hired by the school sometimes. He's kind of observing this fight, and he briefly passes by the girl character, and it almost looks like she doesn't see him, like as a ghost. It's kind of weirdly shot, and he like kind of insta-transforms and passes by her. And then we kind of end off the trailer with just a shot of Gotchard, and then a shot of the bike, which we saw in the teaser trailer, which the bike looks pretty cool overall. Just before I go over the character descriptions, just a few other details I have here about some stuff is about the theme song, which really isn't my jam, literally. I'm probably never giving a listen to it, but the theme song is going to be called Kemi X Story or Kemi Time Story, performed by Bakon. That means really nothing to me. Now, let's talk about some characters. So first of all, we have our main character, Hotaro, who is Kamen Rider Gotchard. He's a regular high school student. He's like I said, he helps his mom's restaurant while he's doing school, but he's also trying to figure out what his dream. And I guess it says he wants to find his gotcha, which I'm going to imagine is going to be his annoying catchphrase. Also, I guess a detail that comes out in some of these is that he is always looking to make new recipes with his mom's restaurant. So, like, the idea of that kind of drawing a parallel to alchemy will be a thing. We have Kudo Rine, his best friend character, the girl character we see in the trailer. Her father is the alchemist that gave him the driver and stuff like that, or the cards. And then you have Kudo Fuga. He's a great alchemist amongst them. Just to ensure that the Kemi aren't used by weapons by the villains. I guess, like, maybe he's going to die. It says he gives his final wishes to give the cards to Gotchard. And I guess he is the girl's father. And then we have the other two characters, which we saw in the trailer, which I said I didn't know their names at the time. But I have Ginkgo, another alchemist who goes to the same class as them. Her family's not wealthy. She's very cheap. She's always trying to sell cards to the main character, which sounds like that might be a funny reoccurring bit. And she also has a long friendship with one of the other classmates, which I'm going to assume is this other guy, Tsuruhara? Delivery's all wrong. I'm butchering it. He's really a brainy character. Also in their same class, he's very misanthropic. Gus, don't make up words. Carries a tablet. Oh, that's a character trait. But it has an AI in it named Isaac. Didn't we learn our lesson with AI? Although I guess it sounds like it's going to be a funny bit where he talks to the AI more than he does people, which is kind of funny. And then we have the history teacher, which we saw a look at. It's like it's going to be kind of like a situation where he's like a boring teacher, but then he kind of has this pseudo-cool persona that he puts on when they go down to their secret base and stuff. It seems like this has a potential to be like, this is just random speculation, but a character that might have some mystery around him and have some bigger reveals. Then that one random nerdy character we saw whose name is Ryu. Oh yeah, the teacher's name is Minato. Anyway, so the nerdy character Ryo Kajiki, another classmate of them, and he's an otaku nerd who reads manga and stuff like that. Apparently something about one of the mangas he does ties to one of the power-ups that we're going to be seeing in the show. He definitely looks kind of annoying, to be honest. Anyway, and then we have our three villains, the Dark Sisters. They're the ones they're going to want to use and weaponize the Kemi cards and stuff like that. Very interesting choice for the main villains in regards to, you know, these three humanoid characters that look very different from what we usually get in regards to the typical, not only humanoid villains, but, you know, having villains with monster forms and stuff like that. And as of this moment, we don't see any monster forms that they have or anything like that. So yeah, this overall looks pretty solid, you know, pretty par for the course, very back to basics. I'm still excited for the show because, like I said, I just recently got back into Rider a bit, covering it more, so I'm kind of excited to get back into that. I like the look of the suits, the gear, and the cards and all that stuff. There's some elements about this that I really like. Like I said, it looks very back to basics, which makes sense, but I'm a little bit worried about that just because one of the reasons I fell off Rider was because it can get so formulaic and basic. Like even Revice, which I just recently finished, and I need to do that series review, which I actually wound up quite liking, was more formulaic than like Geats. So I had a harder time getting into the groove with it because I'm so tired of that formula. But Geats was a breath of fresh air, so I'm a little bit worried about getting tired of the formula again if we go back to something very formulaic. And also, admittedly, I'm also a little bit worried about our protagonist. He doesn't look like a loud, obnoxious Toku protagonist or even something like Gira from King Oger, but he definitely looks like he's going to be a specialist boy, very self-righteous character, and thus far his performance mostly annoys me. Like I said, I do like variety, and I wouldn't expect us to get a badass character like Eats every time, but I just don't like those type of characters. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because all we really have is a trailer, but it's not looking good so far in regards to that. But it still looks like it could be pretty good. You know, it looks, like I said, very back to basics, very much Forza vibes and stuff like that. I'm excited to check out a new show as always, but I am worried about a couple things in regards to having burned out a little bit again, as well as the main character and stuff like that. But I will be covering the show. I'm going to attempt to cover it regularly throughout its run. I will for sure cover around the first 5 episodes individually, and then after that I'm not sure. It depends on how those reviews are received, whether I'll cover it weekly like Sentai, or I'll do it in chunks. But I will be keeping up with the news this year and reviewing whatever merch I get. As of right now, that's just the belt. We'll see what I cave on. I was kind of hoping to get a sneak peek at the sounds for Valivard or whatever to see if I want to cave and get his device, but you know, maybe it's for the best I didn't, because then I wouldn't be spending more money. But anyway, what do you guys think of our trailer and first details on the series? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.